Hi, my name's Sabrina, and been debating doing this video and the start of a few others for a while now because, well, to be quite honest, because of shame and the stigma that goes along with what I'm going to talk about. So the reason I'm doing them and have decided to do this is because of how alone I have felt and how shamed I have felt dealing with the issue of depression, mostly because I'm a Christian. There is this misconception that goes along with depression and Christianity, and it's very unfortunate because those of us that deal with it are often left to feel very isolated, and just to be honest, just like we're walking in sin because we're depressed, or because we deal with issues that other people can't see or don't understand. You know, it's okay to have diabetes and need insulin to take care of it. It's okay to have high blood pressure or cardiac disease and get medications to help your heart pump more effectively or your blood pressure to be lowered. But it's not okay to have anything to deal with mental health. That's what it feels like. And it's very unfortunate for those of us that struggle with it because we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to be known as that person that deals with depression. I've been hearing for a long time, and I've been told, and I've seen it preached from the pulpit that, you know, it's hard to be depressed when you're grateful. Just thank God for it. It'll all be okay. And it's not okay. I'm very grateful. I've always been grateful for what I have. Thankful for life. Thankful for my faith. But I'm still not okay. And I struggle every day of my life. Mine is what's called a persistent depressive disorder or high functioning depression, dysthymia, some people call it. There's a multitude of different names and different diagnoses for what I deal with, but the gist of it is I do have major depressive disorder, but I'm not always in a major depressive episode. The majority of my time, I'm just okay. At least that's what I say. My favorite expression for I don't know how long has been, it's okay, I'll be fine. It's not a big deal. Pull up your big girl panties and push on. I'll be fine, I'll make it work. That's what I am most of the time. But that's because that's how I learned to handle it. But just under the surface, there's always a black cloud. When I was younger, I didn't know what it was. Things would just feel off. Things would feel just like something was wrong. Because I didn't understand what it was and I didn't know it was depression, I would run. I would escape whatever I was at to try to find something that I didn't feel like that. I would stuff it down with drugs or alcohol, people and activities and places. But you can only do that for so long. And I would say in my mid-30s, I started noticing it got a lot harder for me to do that. Then I had a lot of major life changes happen. I lost some very close people, and it triggered a lot of stuff for me. I went through some major medical issues, and it made it far worse. And then over the past couple years, it's gotten to the point where I can't even stuff anymore. That, yeah, I'm okay most of the time. At least that's what it seems like. And unfortunately, that's very dangerous because people with high functioning depression like I have, you don't know what we're dealing with. And so there's no warning signs. There's no indications that we're about to lose it. I don't crack all the time, but when I crack, it's very deep. and it's very hard, and it's debilitating. I want to do these videos because as a Christian, I've looked up a bunch of scripture and a bunch of resources to try to help me understand. Am I in sin? Is God trying to teach me something by keeping me in this funk or feeling like this? I've hidden it very well. I've led worship for years. I led women's groups, marriage things. I mean, I've done a lot in church leadership and roles, but I never let anybody get too close, because I was afraid that if they saw that I had depression or that I was not able to handle that all the time, that I would not be adequate for the role, or they would see me as inept or not having enough faith or not walking the right walk with God, that something must be wrong if I'm dealing with this. So I didn't talk about it. I didn't talk about it at all. My best friends didn't even know what I dealt with to that severity. They knew something, but not to the severity that I dealt with it until I cracked and broke. So I want to give people, I guess, just a sense of knowing that you're not alone. A sense of community with other believers that deal with this, that feel stigmatized and like they're in sin because they deal with a mental health issue. To compound it, I have an eating disorder. I've dealt with that my entire life. And for a lot of times I can kind of keep it suppressed. There's not a day where I go longer than, I don't know how many minutes without thinking about weight or food. It's a very sad and hopeless feeling. You know, the word depression gets thrown around a lot when people are sad. Oh, I'm so depressed. And I don't mean to undermine anybody's sadness or feelings of sadness. But sadness is, from time to time, you can feel that way. Situations arise where you feel sad or you experience loss and you grieve and you're able to bounce back. But the illness of depression is different. It's much more than sadness. It's much more than just a low mood. It's not being able to pick yourself up and dust off very easily. You lose interest in all the things that you always enjoyed doing. You have feelings, just very deep feelings of worthlessness and hopelessness. Like there's just no reason to be here anymore. Maybe you don't have thoughts of wanting to kill yourself, but it sure feels nice to think about just not waking up tomorrow. It lasts longer than just situational or after things get better. It can be triggered by life events, the major depressive episodes that I have, but I'm always dealing with just a low feeling. It affects appetite. It affects the way we handle other people and deal with people in situations. With me and high-functioning depression, because of the feelings of worthlessness and hopelessness, I have to overachieve to feel better about myself. I'm very critical of myself, and I place a lot of unrealistic expectations that I have to meet. And inevitably, I'm not going to meet all of them. And that's just going to make me feel even worse. And then I spiral into an even deeper depression because now I've been proven right. I'm worthless. I'm a mistake. I'm leftovers. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm no good for anybody. It's a very sad thing to deal with this. I started getting help about 1.5 years ago. Very intensive help to try to walk through some issues that I've dealt with. my whole life. And it's helped a lot. But I've still walked around with a lot of guilt and a lot of shame about this disorder. So I've done a lot of research. And what I'd like to do is I'm going to make a few videos, and I'm going to pinpoint certain things that I deal with depression and or my eating disorder. And then I want to share some information that I've gathered about it that has, I guess, helped shed some light on it for me and has helped me at least feel a little bit better as a Christian, knowing that depression's not a sin. I'm not being punished because I'm walking through this. And I haven't done, quote unquote, anything wrong to have it. My hope is that through these, I'm going to help somebody else to feel better, somebody else to have some hope, and maybe get a little bit of relief in knowing that you're not alone. So this is the first one. Just sharing what I'm going to do and sharing my hope and my purpose. I hope it helps somebody else.